You're scrolling on your phone, you see something you kind of want, not desperately, not something you plan to buy, just something that catches your eye, you tap it. 2 seconds later, your purchase is complete, money gone. Now here's the question that most people never ask themselves. Why did you spend that money in that moment? Was it because you suddenly needed it? Was it because you did a quick calculation and realized you could afford it? Or did you just spend it without really thinking about it at all? Most people blame themselves. They tell themselves they have weak willpower, they lack discipline, they're bad with money. But what if the real reason you spent the money has nothing to do with your character, and everything to do with a trick that banks and retailers have spent decades perfecting? A trick so invisible that you use it every single day without even knowing it's happening. Here's what most people believe about spending money. I spend money because I decided to spend money. I made a conscious choice. I evaluated the option and decided it was worth it. When I spend carelessly, that's on me, my lack of discipline, my poor decision-making. This belief feels true because it matches your conscious experience. You do decide to spend money, it does feel like a choice. But here's what neuroscience and behavioral psychology have discovered over the last 20 years. Your conscious decision is actually happening at the end of a long process that already started without you even knowing it. By the time you're aware you're making a choice, the machinery that leads to that choice is already running. And banks understand this machinery incredibly well. Let's start with the most fundamental trick. It's called friction reduction, and it's so simple that it almost sounds not important, but it is. Think about how you spent money 20 years ago. You needed something, you went to a store, you pulled out physical cash, you watched the money leave your hand, you saw it handed to a cashier, you walked away, the money was visibly, physically gone. That entire process had friction, it took time, it required effort, and most importantly, it felt real. Money leaving your hand feels different in your nervous system than a number changing on a screen. Now contrast that to today. You see something, you tap once, sometimes not even once. Your phone remembers your information. It's done. The money doesn't feel like it left because you never held it, you never saw it. The entire transaction took about the same amount of time as checking a text message. The friction has been almost entirely removed, and when friction disappears, spending increases dramatically. Not because you suddenly became weaker, because the biological warning system that normally kicks in, wait, I'm spending money, never got activated in the first place. Now let's add the second trick. It's called abstraction, and it works like this. When you spend cash, you're spending something real. You can see it, touch it, you know exactly how much you have. When you're down to your last $20, that feels different in your body than when you have 100. But when you spend on a credit card, you're not spending money, you're spending an invisible number, a number that feels infinite because you don't see the limit until the bill comes, and by then, you've already spent it. Banks love this because the human brain treats abstract numbers differently than physical objects. We're bad at understanding abstract numbers. We're good at understanding, I have $5 left, but we're terrible at understanding, I have $47.32 available credit. It feels unlimited even when it isn't. The third trick is called the reward illusion. You get points, you get cash back, you get miles. The bank sends you notifications when you earn rewards. These notifications hit the same reward centers in your brain as actual money. You feel good about spending because you're earning something back. But here's the psychological trick hidden inside the trick. The rewards are always less than what you spent to get them. You spend $100 to earn $1 back, but every time you earn that $1 back, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine, like you've accomplished something, like you've won something. So you spend more to win more rewards, and the bank gets richer while you feel like you're gaming the system. Here's what's really important to understand. Banks aren't trying to trick you because you're stupid. They're using these tricks because they work on everyone. They work on smart people. They work on financially educated people. They work on you. The reason they work is that they exploit the gap between how the human brain evolved to make decisions and how the modern financial world actually works. Your brain evolved to make spending decisions in a world where money was physical, where you could see it and feel it, where the friction of spending was built into the process. Your ancestors didn't have invisible numbers, they had resources they could count and hold. Banks have built a financial system that operates completely in that abstract, invisible world, and they've removed every bit of friction they possibly can. This isn't a moral failing on your part, it's a design problem. You have a brain optimized for a world that no longer exists, operating in a world that's been specifically engineered to exploit the gaps in that design. So what do you actually do about this? First, add friction back in. If you primarily use credit cards and digital payments, consider keeping a small amount of cash for discretionary spending. Not because paying with cash will magically make you smarter, but because the friction and physicality of it activates your brain's spending warning system. You'll naturally spend less because the process feels real again. Second, make your rewards real. Your credit card rewards mean almost nothing. But if you want to use them, treat them like actual money you earned and need to decide about, not like free bonus spending power. Calculate the actual cash value and decide consciously if it's worth what you spent to earn it. Third, create friction intentionally around the things that matter most. If you want to reduce spending, make spending harder. Remove saved payment methods. Require a waiting period before purchase. Make the decision conscious again instead of unconscious. The banks have optimized to remove friction. You need to add it back in to make better decisions. Here's what I want to leave you with. The psychological tricks banks use to make you spend more aren't secret. They're not even that complicated. They're just friction reduction, abstraction, and the exploitation of reward psychology. What makes them powerful isn't that they're clever, it's that they work at a level below conscious awareness. By the time you're consciously deciding to spend, the decision is already half made by the design of the system. But understanding this changes everything. Because once you see the trick, it becomes much harder for it to work on you. The next time you tap to buy something, you'll notice the absence of friction. The next time you earn rewards, you'll be aware of the psychological hit. The next time you use an abstract number instead of physical money, you'll feel the difference. And in those moments of awareness, you get your power back. The trick only works when you don't see it. If this changed how you think about your spending habits, the next video breaks down exactly how to redesign your financial systems to work with your psychology instead of against it.